And Michelle. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for taking the time to come to our second budget workshop of this budget season. So the budget workshops to review revenues, expenses, and determine council priorities. I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful city manager, Henry.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
So we had prepared the calendar and I was looking at it because I thought we had fallen behind, but we're catching up today. So today's August 4th on the calendars discuss the tax rates. So we'll kind of touch that a little bit. We still have some work to do on it, mainly because of the calculation, taking the appraised values and also the debt for the INS on the general fund. But I'll go over that. With that being said, the first item to discuss is the priorities that council presented to me at the last meeting. I'll just go over them really quick. So to factor in 3% cost of living increase. So I'll be working on that the rest of the week. The advanced meter infrastructure. So work on that also. And on that, actually, we already have quotes for that. And these are single source. So we have vendors and that we've been communicating with. And once we're ready, we'll bring them to council at a regular council meeting. The fee structure. So we've worked on that. The streets, the 60 blocks. So council last budget authorized about $200,000 in the budget. So we're keeping that same amount that covers the 60 blocks. Same benefits. We're having a meeting pretty soon with our benefits broker, and we told them the same thing, that we want to keep the same benefits, and they're working on the cost for us. So we'll have to update the spreadsheet that I'm going to give you. It does not include that, so we'll have to include that. Also, the economic development. The fire department budget $60,000 for that, and we'll make sure that we include that in there. Economic development study, I think the past study was sent to us. I sent it to council, the one from UTSA, and also a proposal from a firm that I've been in discussions with. And so that's it. So those are the goals from the last meeting. Okay. Now on the sticking to the tax rates. So we did receive. I left you a copy of the front sheet. It says 2026 certified estimate values, city of Alpine. So the new estimated total value is $563,308,627. And if you go to another presentation that's titled General Obligation Debt, flip the page. And there you have the tax base for the prior years from 2020, 360 million, 2021, 391.4 million, 2022, 436.5 million, 2023, 497.3 million, 2024, 527, 2025, 547, and now 2026 is going to be 563 million. So that's a steady increase, which is a positive factor. That is, remodeling, some new construction, demolition, that subtract, and then the increase in appraised value. All that goes in there. Now back to the front page where it says general obligation debt. So this is what we're going to need. We took on this current fiscal year 927,000 in debt. The self-supporting debt for water and sewer, that's paid through rate fees at 1.8 million. And then the net debt for the ad valorem, which is to calculate the INS, is 1.1 million, which is very low debt for a city your size. And we'll take those into the calculation of the new tax rate. So I'll be working on that and hopefully have it in by the end of the week. that covers the discussion on the tax rates.
Henry, I have a quick question for you.
Mhm.
Since the audit is completed by March 31st, 2026, aren't we limited as far as our tax rate?
Yes, so by law, you're limited to no new revenue. But we still have to calculate the tax rate. So most likely the tax rate is gonna decrease. Because if the property value increases and then you keep the same tax rate, then you're gonna create additional revenue, which we're being penalized right now. So that's why the property rate decreases.
Happened last year.
And that's happened for the past 6 years. So it's been a decrease in the tax rate. And we'll look at some data right now because you know, two of the bigger departments in the general fund is the police department and then also streets and the streets drainage and parks and recreation. So none of them will tell you that their costs are decreasing.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Everybody's costs are going up.
everybody's costs are going up, so that'll be something to look into.
So we're not allowed to keep the tax rate the same. It's no new net revenue.
No new revenue means when you're working on the calculation,
Tax rates go down.
if last year you made, let's say hypothetically, $2 million, then no new revenue means this year you cannot make more than $2 million. You can make less, but not more. Yeah, so that kind of,
For the last 6 years.
so the last 6, yeah, you can see on this on the general obligation debt right here. You have the property values for the increase, and then you have the tax rate, which has been decreasing.
Excellent.
Well, if you're a property owner, hey, that's good for you, right? But if you have to pave the streets like Eddie, well, that's not good, right? So it gets into a tug of war. You want your streets paved or you want low taxes, you know, it's a tug of war, but it's something that he has to manage and he knows that the materials are not, the cost of the materials are not decreasing. On the same page, the sales tax, it's pretty steady there. You can see data from 2022 at 2.2 million, 2023, 2.1 million, 2024, 1.9, 2025, 2 million. So that's steady. That helps with managing, you know, your financial structure, you know, which is good. You know, sometimes you get challenged, it's a decrease and you have to make adjustments. So we're not in that situation. On the next page, overlapping debt and top taxpayers. So on the left side, you have the overlapping debt. This is the debt with other governmental agencies. Alpine ISD, 13.8 million. Brewster County, 494,000. City of Alpine, 1.1. And this is just the ad valorem debt. Okay, the debt that you need to pay with property taxes. So the total debt for all the government agencies that collect taxes, 8.3 million. You have information on the top 5 taxpayers, 2025 information. AEP Texas North, 6.9 million. Hampton Inn Alpine, 6.2 million in value. Holiday Inn Express and Suites, 5.9 million in value. NGP, 4.8 million, and then the Big Bend Telephone, 4.3 million. Those are your top 5 taxpayers.
So, Jimmy Henry, why is the Brewster County Big Bend Regional Medical, not medical center, but the other tax? Yeah, thank you. The hospital district. Why is it not listed on direct and overlapping debt? Because we pay that debt as residents, they pay for that as well at roughly 9%.
Oh, okay. I'd have to go research that. These are just the entities that I picked up.
Yeah, so you're just one other entity to include, because there's 4 entities every resident pays for.
Okay.
School district, which is half the tax, then the city's next.
Yeah.
Then the county. And then
So
the
maybe they don't have any debt.
no, they don't have any debt. They have a huge fund balance.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
The last snapshot, economic snapshot and takeaways. So 2020 population, 6,035. Fourth quarter, 2025 employment, 4,658. Sol Ross State University fall enrollment, 1,872 students. And then the key takeaways is let me see, the general obligation debt is modest and well structured. You do have a growing tax base. And that's it for those slides. I kept a couple other slides out. I don't want to confuse. Just wanted to keep it on the tax base.
This is a great set of slides.
Okay, thank you. So the next set of slides is still on the economy because, we're all affected by that. So it's a regional economic overview. And this, most of the employment data has to come at the county level. Okay, so then it's going to make estimates for the city level. Okay. The labor market, you have the trend there from January through June. The peak was in April, 5,662 people employed. The unemployment as of May 2026 was 2.8, which is a good thing. But if you're recruiting, that means that most of the people are employed. There's not a lot of people seeking employment, which is kind of what happens with the utility department. When they're looking for people, it takes them a while to fill the spot. They've had openings and then nobody applies. Because a lot of people are working.
Yeah, I can tell you, at construction, probably 90% of my employees are not from Alpine or Brewster County. And I've got 18 employees.
And that affects the economy because that means that money from local money from here is going out. That could be spent here. So that's something to work on. Next sheet is the employment sector, and this is a model estimate based on what's available for the county, and then you just kind of model what it would be for the city. So retail and services, that's 900 employees. Hospitality and tourism, 800. And that's a direct correlation. You look at your sales tax and your tourism economy, that's where that's coming from. And then you got Sol Ross, construction trade, agricultural and ranching, local government at 175 employees, finance professionals, 150, healthcare, 115, transportation and logistics, 100. One of the items that came to mind that you could stimulate is because you see a lot of tractor trailers that are, crossing Highway 90, both east and westbound, and some are going down all the way to Brownsville, some are going all the way to LA. I'm pretty sure they break down. They need to get service. They need to fuel up, all that kind of stuff. But do we have diesel mechanics here that can support that? Because a repair for a diesel is not going to be $500. It's going to be a whole lot more. You generate sales tax out of it. Fuel, you need to fuel up. You get that higher, they got big tanks. So that could be something to think about and say, hey, you know what?
So it's a result of the 2016 studies why Valero went in on the east end of town.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a direct result of that. So
okay, good. Okay,
that's meaning that the diesel mechanics, we are short.
Yeah. Okay, but that's something that could use to stimulate, and then it stimulates the labor, and then it stimulates the sales tax because those bills are $5,000 and up when you're working on those vehicles.
Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of like a dealership. You don't have a dealer to sell vehicles, you're losing that sales tax. Just a little snapshot on Sol Ross. In spring, their headcount was 1,708. That's a 8.7% growth. In a meeting, this kind of verifies what in a meeting that we had with the president, he said that he's had growth in the dual credit. Okay, they have to service that. Dual credit is growing, so that's good. Alpine ISD enrollment from 2016 was close to 1,000 students, and currently it's more like 960 students. So there is a slight decrease, 10%. How does it affect us? Well, on our end, it's we own the utility company. They're our water customer, sewer customer. It's a direct effect there. Big Bend National Tourism, pretty steady. 2021, 581,220 visitors. 2022, 514, 2023, 509, 2024, 560. The visits from January through May, 305,788. And then visits in June alone, 38,000. So they're on a good pace so far. The agricultural economic footprint, this is just kind of overall. This is all Brewster County. It's a direct impact, $30 to $40 million, 250 to 300 on an annual basis, 250 to 350 jobs. Indirectly, 15 to 20 million impact. The impact would on the direct is ranching, livestock sales, hunting leases, ag services. On the indirect is the suppliers, the feed, the hardware, the fuel, the vets, the haulers, the fencing, and the induced 10 to 15 million household spending by ranch families and ag workers in Alpine. The talking points for this, it's a labor market is tight and stable, unemployment near 3%, employment trending up through mid-2026, which supports steady sales and utility revenue. Tourism is a growth engine. Big Bend visitation is pacing toward another near record year, directly supporting Alpine's hospitality, retail, and sales tax base. Higher education is rebounding, driven by dual credit. K-12 enrollment is quietly shrinking. Alpine ISD is down 11.3% since 2016. This is consistent with statewide rural trends. Agriculture remains meaningful and modest share of the base. And that's it kind of for the economic big picture. Now the next presentation is the budget summary, which is right here. It's same spreadsheet. I'll go through it one more time to kind of scrub it to make sure that everything's inclusive. At the high level, our total revenues that we're forecasting for the current year, which is what I'm using to build the proposed budget. As so we're forecasting will be at 15.2 million, which is pretty consistent across the board. With the exception of 2024, there was an audit adjustment of $500,000 there. So I'm not planning for that.
But the good news on that, last time we saw this, Henry, it was in the $14 million range, and you had almost $1 million deficit between expenses and revenues. So
Yes, correct.
this is an improvement. So
Yeah.
we'll hope and pray next time you have it at least balanced.
Yeah. So one of the things that I still need to do is scrub the leases, all the contracts to make sure, because you miss one lease, that could be $10,000. It is, in a $15 million budget's not a whole lot, but so I'll be scrubbing that. The revenue, the property tax revenue, that has to be more accurate based on what we're going to calculate. So that still needs to be adjusted. The COLA, the 3%. So that I'm working with Clarinda on a spreadsheet, and then we'll calculate that in there. That 3% affects, that's at the gross level. So it'll affect any planned overtime, any calculation of payroll taxes, and then the benefits to see what cost comes in. We did have a meeting with our broker, and we do have a few employees that are on long-term illness, and that has increased the cost. So just in general, in our discussion, said, look, if you have paid 1 million in premiums, Blue Cross Blue Shield has paid 2 million in expenses. So they're not going to come back with a decrease. is, there's gonna be an adjustment for that. And we'll have to review that too, because it's gonna impact the number here. Right now, I'm just using the actual, and the actual is our current premiums that we have. So that'll be an effect on that. Let's see. What other thing am I gonna be? And also on the revenue side for the enterprise, I'm being conservative because we do have the fee schedule was approved. So there's an increase there, but it has yet to happen. So we need to see the experience. Usually if a customer received an increase the first time, and then later, hey, what I gotta do to tighten this, so you don't get the full amount of that. You're gonna get maybe half or so. I'd rather see that first and then make an adjustment 6 months down the road. If you revisit the revenue for year to date, and it's increasing, then you can make an adjustment there. So those are the areas that I'll be working on to fine tune a little bit more. My goal, obviously, is to come to you with a balanced, right? But if not, then you'll have to, once my next goal here is to start working on the proposed budget and put it into form. The way it can be presented to you. And then after that, you review it, you take it home, and then you can go through it, fine tune it, and then give me direction as to, you want to decrease, increase, or what actions to take.
But right now, you're in the $15.5 million range.
That's correct. And then it's pretty consistent to the actual, the first 4 years on here, that's audited information.
Yep.
Audited financial statements. It's pretty close to that. Another factor that I'll probably consider is on all the supplies and materials and all that. I haven't factored in inflation in there. So I'm using your historical average for those 4 audited years. But that was 4 years ago. The prices have gone up. So I have to factor that into those accounts where you buy supplies and all that. And that's not going to be a decrease, that's going to be an increase. So any questions?
Sarah Martinez.
This is really well explained, so you're doing a great job.
And this, when you get the proposed budget, then you can kind of mirror this. We've kind of sorted the revenues from higher to lower, and also the department expenses. That way, kind of like this is.
Councilmember Ricketts. Councilmember Escobedo.
No, it's very well put together. Thank you so much.
I do appreciate all the detail that you have given us. It's better than what we received in years past.
Okay.
And it gives us something to take home and digest and look through.
Yeah, one of the things to look at is on the second page. And you see, you have your total revenues. And then we put in a little bar here. That's kind of it. Imagine you're operating a business and this is your net profit.
Right.
Yep.
So as cost pressure is, because that's what it is. It's a wage pressure, it's cost increase, inflation pressure. It's eating up at your normal revenue, and it's causing you to
Not have that money.
not have that money.
Away for a rainy
Yes.
day.
And we did an exercise with I think it was Mike, Randy, maybe the chief, where we looked. I took the 4 audited years of the enterprise fund revenues, and then the expenses, and I think the margin in those 4 years was 2.7% for the water, sewer, trash, and something else, and the margin for those 5 for the gas was at 5%. So just something to look forward, because there's going to be a lot of maintenance that has to be done. Some you'll borrow for it, and others you just want to have a little left over, something pumps go out, motors that can, yeah. You can handle one, but when 2, 3, 4, That's,
which is a likely scenario,
Mhm.
given the age of the equipment.
So-
Councilmember Stevens, anything else?
Yeah, like everyone else, thanks very much, Henry. I know the county is putting 70,000 in for the fire department. I talked to Judge about that last week, so that's what they're looking for us to do as well. So you may want to factor that in,
Okay.
so council can at least discuss that, but that's where the county's at, 70,000 for fire.
I think he said 60 this year.
It's 70. No, I just talked to Judge about that last week, and I know when we had Rusty in here, he said 60, but the judge says no, 70.
okay. Inflation.
Yeah, well, they're trying to work and, our challenge, we know this year is assuming the emergency service district number 2 passes. We still have to fund it, the ambulances next year as well, because I won't kick in until a year later. So do you have how much do you have in for ambulances? About 370?
I think I saw 165,
Oh, 165?
I think,
Okay.
yeah. And I'm,
No, I'm talking about for ambulance.
Specifically.
Yeah.
It's like come out of that fund balance check for car.
yeah, I think I saw the 165. So I just put that same amount there.
You plug in the same amount, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have a year before ESD kicks in. I'm talking about the ESD.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for of the emergent.
Yeah.
Where we at with the grants?
I'll get it.
I know we applied for $500,000.
Well, that was for the fire truck, or for the ambulance,
Yes,
yeah.
yep.
My sense is, I think that was a done deal. So that got funded. That's a non-issue. Yeah,
For the ambulances.
yeah. So that's the good news with the Carolina.
Yeah, it's stuff in our game.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things, and because, we're in the current budget, it was about 60,000 in salary plus whatever the benefits add up. That's usually 30% for economic development. Okay, and that was for a position.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and we haven't hired anybody, for that position. So that money is there. I just,
Talk about that for a second.
okay. So, I sent a presentation. It's kind of like a proposal. It's these are specialists in the field of development, helping municipalities and stuff. And if you want me to go and include something like that, that's not in the next year. Okay. So they had a proposal of $120,000. You know, that can be split, utilized, half this year, and then with the other half in the next fiscal year. One of the things from these type of specialists, they not only attack economic development, they also look for funding, infrastructure, economic development funding. I'm gonna give you an example with the City of Del Rio. There was a $1 million grant from the Economic Development Agency, the federal agency, and they developed the road behind one of the main roads. What city, and it took a while. This didn't happen. I mean, the road was developed, curbing and all that. It was economic development. Maybe 7-8 years, nothing showed up. Then you had the regional border patrol sector. They established their place where that road was. Now you go over there, the Hampton Inn is there, the Marriott is there, the Hawthorne, La Quinta Inn, the Hilton, all brand new hotels.
Yep.
This was from
On that road, yeah.
strategy that you said.
Yeah, so, and they do other, so, if you just look at the price tag, it's, you also have to see what kind of benefits can the community receive, from grants, from interest in other companies, all that. All that will be a lot more than what the cost is. So but it doesn't happen in 6 months, a year. It's a strategic plan for the next 5 years.
So let's dive into that just a little bit more. I think that should be one of our top priorities, to be proactive. So we know how many visitors, almost 600,000 to the park annually. And if that tourism drops for whatever reason, I think we all know one big reason that it may drop. That is where a lot of our revenue is coming from, because our property tax has stayed flat. So our money to operate the city is coming from sales tax. We know our enterprise fund with water has been in the negative. Gas has not, but with that in mind, and we know that it takes a while to build this, such as the road you're talking about, it took 6 or 7 years before all those entities came in. We need to be proactive to think about the survival of our city. If we're losing all of the tourists or a good portion of the tourists that go down south. So what can we do? Well, we already have a lot of festivals and we already have a lot of awards, thanks to Heather and Chris, for travel. We're a music friendly city. We're a tourism friendly city. But what else can we do to make us the destination if the park is not? I see where an economic development company could help us with that. What manufacturer could we bring in here? You and I had a discussion and you mentioned maybe even the Civic Center could be a place where equipment, say for, I don't know, shoestring manufacturer could go. And then this could be offices and the city could get revenue from the rent for this space after we give them 6 months free, say. So we need an advocate that can look for businesses such as that and make suggestions and put together a packet so that when we are ready to hire an economic development for that position, we can hand it to them and say, here you go. This is what we need to keep our city alive. Maybe we need double the amount of activities and festivities we have. We already have something just about every month. We're good. But if that sales tax continues to decrease and our property values are flat, how are we going to run the city? Now, Councilmember Stevens said something that was very good. And I looked at it back in 2022 when I first became mayor, and there are excellent points. And we have done some of those things. So I went through it again with a fine-tooth comb last night, and I want to point out some of the things that we did do and some of the things they recommended. They recommended one central farmers market, because at that time, I guess there were 2, and we have that. And Heather does a fabulous job. I mean, that's a tourist attraction all in itself. We have music and it's a lively event. So we do have that. So that was good. That came out of that study from, it was UT San Antonio
Yes,
and Sol Ross.
Yep.
Another good thing is said we needed special event centers downtown. Well, we know we're landlocked in the city, and we know that Texas is a private property owner state. And we can't force somebody to move out and put an event center, say where the Panda is. But we do have the Granada now, which is available. We have the Museum of the Big Bend, which has been renovated and has a lovely space. And then we have the Student Center at Sul State University that's often used. We held Pioneer Reunion there. The Big Bend Natural History Association did. In that recommendation that Councilmember Stevens sent us, they also recommended some renovation on Murphy Street, specifically the Ritchie.
Yep.
It's been renovated. It isn't a hotel as they suggested that there be some rooms available, but it's been renovated as an event center. Also, we have music venues there all the time. So that came out of that study. And that was valuable information. And then I know there's some renovation down towards the west on Murphy Street. There's somebody that has like a facial spa thing, and that whole building's being renovated. And they want to turn that into also a little mini event center, maybe a wedding venue, party venue, music place. Can't think of the name of the building, but it's to the west before you get to the pink building there. So that they recommended that we have a historic district. Guess what? We have a historic district. And so that enables historic tax credits. And finally, Byways Hospitality has all their funding and they're beginning in earnest. They hope to have a ribbon cutting next year for the Holland and the Maverick, and then they'll do the Olympia up in Fort Davis. So that study recommended that, which is wonderful. So we have that, and also Cozy Court has taken advantage of the historic tax credits. And they're gonna bring themselves back to what they were when they originally opened. And so they've already started, in fact, they hired Bonnie to come in to do the renovations on the pool. So they have started. That's another great thing that's happening. So these things can help bring in tourists, because we know that historic tourism is a big thing. So that was really good. So they recommended becoming a destination for music. Guess what? We got the music friendly. And so we are a destination for music, and that's something that came out of that study. Something that didn't is an arts center, but we have our galleries, and we have artists who are doing workshops more regularly now. So that was back in 2016, which is good. They proposed a plaza improvement at Art Walk Plaza specifically. And what did the city just do? Just purchased that area with hot funds. So our tourists paid for that. And now we're turning it into kind of an event center. The music advisory board, we were talking about, any musician can just go and sit and start strumming if they want. And we were talking about how we could have shade and maybe temporarily just some of the tents available that they can check out from whomever. So they recommended that in that study also. In that study, they had a picture and they had cars parked in it. And I think what we're doing with it's a better idea than having it for parking. They recommended crosswalks and sidewalks for the downtown area. So that will require more work with TxDOT, since TxDOT owns those things. And the last administration at TxDOT didn't like crosswalks because they said people are more likely to get hurt because there's a false sense of security. I'm gonna walk out here and these two white stripes are gonna protect me, and then somebody doesn't do what they're supposed to do and you get run over. So that's something. And then they also recommended a parking garage at Murphy on the other side of the railroad track across from Printco. But my understanding is that's owned by Union Pacific. So I don't foresee that even being viable at this time. I won't say never, but and then they recommended a bike path from Sewell Ross down Sewell Ross Avenue to Fifth, down Fifth, across the railroad tracks over to the Murphy side. That could be something we could work on. They also recommended a small shuttle from Sewell Ross to downtown. We would need somebody who, say when we have the economic development position, could look to see, could reach out and say, hey, are there any investors out there that would like to start a little shuttle system? And maybe that shuttle system could be even bigger than that. It could be from the airport in Midland to the Alpine area. There is opportunity there. We do have, and I know this from the Alpine Business Coalition, an investor coming in. He has bought the area near the Cowboy Church, has already cleared it out. He's putting a car dealership and a rental car place in that, as well as like Jeep rentals for people who want to go down to the park. And he was talking about the car rental specifically for people who are coming in on Amtrak. So he's going to run a shuttle from Amtrak to the car rental lot. So that might be something that he would also be interested in doing. So all these things are very doable. They also recommended outdoor movie screenings in that study. I know that's a little more difficult because you have to buy the rights to be able to show the movie and stuff like that. But I mean, it's something we could have an economic development person work on, maybe in conjunction with our recreation coordinator.
Walter wants to do it on the side of ice.
He what?
He wants to do it on the side of ice, Walter, from. At
Okay.
Artwalk Plaza.
See, so that would be something also. Now, this was in 2016 and we know things have changed. Of course, we have AI now. We have a lot of technology that has advanced. So we have to look at where we're currently at. And we know Sewell Ross, their admission is increasing, but a number of those are online. And we have to be proactive in thinking, you know, what can we do? So I think it makes sense to have a company where it's a professional organization. They've been, I read that too, with a fine tooth comb, in business since 1995. This is their job. This is what they specifically have degrees and experience in, to put that together. So then in another year, maybe we have the funds that we can hire that economic development person. I think that would be an investment that would pay off more than, say, any mutual fund, savings account, or stock that we could put money into. And I think that we have to be proactive, because we have to think about what if the park is no longer a big tourist destination? What if we don't have out of the 600,000, say 300,000 might come through here, the other 300,000 might go through Marathon? What if we don't have that? How are we gonna survive? What are we gonna do? I think that's a very good prospect. Now, the Small Business Development Center, I did ask them back in, I believe it was 2023, and I can reach out to Norma and see if she still has the data to update it, because it had been 6-7 years since it was put out. And what they were able to do was give us more demographic information. You know, the population, the average income, the jobs, kind of like what you have right here.
Mhm.
You know, I know this is for Brewster County in general, which includes Terlingwood, includes Marfa, or Marathon, not Marfa, Marathon, and us, but the SPDC can do that. I think that hiring that company with the money for the economic development position, just to get us a plan, strategic plan. And then we can give direction to whoever we hire as an economic developer in the future.
But I don't have a problem with that. I know that you will recoup more than what you pay. But I'm your facilitator. It's, whatever the council wants.
You've worked with them before.
I've worked with it before.
Now, did you tell me that they have lobbyists in Austin that can help attract?
Well, yeah, they're right there in Austin. They're close to the governor's economic development team, close to all the agencies that provide infrastructure grants and all that. So they, it's their job to know who's who. There's always companies from foreign countries looking to invest, because they know that the United States is a big market,
Especially Texas.
big productive market. And what they'll do is they'll go to Washington, DC, and get with their economic development department. Hey, I'm looking to invest, looking for this, looking for land, looking for whatever. They give them a sheet, or they'll come to the state of Texas, and there's a team receiving all that information. Now, who from Alpine has access to those people? Nobody. So every day there's requests coming in. We don't know about it. So do you want somebody to help you with it?
And we've got a great baseline with the council put in place back in 2016. And they focused on the downtown area, they didn't focus on the broader Alpine area. So adding to that study, I think would pay off. Okay, Councilmember
Yes,
Stevens.
thanks, Mayor. So I agree with you. I think, getting the right support to look at is important. I think one of the challenges we face as a council is recognizing what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are. Our strengths are, we're in a remote area. We've got lots for people to see. Our weaknesses are, we're in a remote area. We have no transportation and we have no labor. So as a guy who in business looked for places to put other companies, I would never come to Alpine if there's no labor market. And so then you got to look and say, what are our strengths? Our strengths are, we're in the tourism business. We've got lots to go see. I think if we were to take a look at places like Moab, who's out in the middle of nowhere, but their economic development has gone off the charts. I was talking to Brian the other day from Byway. They've been working on cycling, and those who are doing outdoors, They're bringing a ton of people in that pumps up the hotels, pumps the restaurants, all the things we have. So I think part of what we want to think about is how do we steer someone in economic development? I really don't think we're gonna bring anyone in to do any manufacturing or any production here. We just don't have a workforce. And what if we're so in South Carolina, we hired, oh shoot, probably 4,000 people there, but the workforce was there because the metropolitan area was there. So I think we're spot on. We ought to go do it. We just need to be thoughtful about what we ask someone to go do.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yeah, that's a great idea. We need to be more specific. What are the needs of Alpine? I like, every idea to hire somebody to help us. I think Alpine is doing a great job with all these wonderful
we
teams that we have right now.
We're like this right now.
Yes. So any extra help, it would be wonderful, so we can keep going.
Councilmember Lucas? Councilmember Escobedo?
I do think we need economic development, we do need a lot of other businesses to attract people up, so that they're not having to go out and spend money elsewhere, we need it to stay here. So whatever Henry is good. Or not.
So add it in, let's see how it looks.
Okay,
I mean, it doesn't hurt, always take it out.
Oh, yeah. Well, O'Reilly's is here because the study we did in 2016. One of our major shortcomings is, no matter we have Napa AutoZone, we don't have enough auto parts place here. And it's great to know that we got a dealership going in now, because that's another hole.
I'm excited about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And he's
Are
been
they
coming
already,
to the
are
Alpine.
they already operating?
Not yet, he's still in Dripping Springs.
Yep.
And in fact, we were there yesterday picking up a vehicle. And he comes to the Alpine Business Coalition meeting, so he came in today.
Yeah.
But he's already cleared it, he already has inventory that he's ready to get here. And he also, in Dripping Springs, part of his business is he's a diesel mechanic.
There you go.
So we went into
Good.
the shop area, I guess you'd say, and it was wild. They had the whole cab off
Oh,
the
yeah.
truck and the whole cab is up on the lift and they were working on the motor
Yep.
there. He's very successful there, but what we have, like we were saying, is we have sunshine. We have a nice climate, we have nice people, we have a calmer pace of life.
Yep.
And he said he thought he would die in Irving Springs, but it's Austin swallowed it. It's so crazy, and busy and traffic. And just, so that's what we do have. We have clean air. You know, those are some of the things we can sell. Oh, another thing I noticed in my notes, that study said we should have hikes up Hancock Hill. Guess what we have? We have Soil Ross, thankfully, and we are all working together as partners, which is good. Yeah, have hikes now up the hill. So the 2016 study was good and things did come out of it. Yeah, so we should be pleased.
Yep.
All right.
all right, so the next thing is, do you want to have another workshop, or are you comfortable with kind of most of the numbers that we have?
So what does it look like if we don't have a workshop? How would this play out?
So on August 20th, I have to have the newspaper publication for the first budget and CIP reading. On September the 3rd, I have to have the newspaper publication for adoption of the fiscal year budget. And the newspaper publication for the first tax rate reading. On September 8th, and a special meeting, public hearing for budget adoption and capital improvement. And then September 10th, newspaper publication for public hearing and approval of the tax rate. And September 15th, tax rate, public hearing and approval of fiscal year 26, 27 tax rate.
So if we don't have the workshops, so just for the public, council could still come in and make changes when you're presenting these
So,
to us.
yeah, so the next thing for me to do is to prepare a proposed budget with the priorities that you gave me. And then I have to give that to the city secretary so she can publish, and it's available for anybody to view. And then from then to the adoption, council can still make changes.
Well, I don't know, council, what do you want?
When will you have a draft budget for council?
I'm hoping a week from now.
So can I suggest we do a workshop again at the next meeting to look at the draft you have
On the 18th.
on the 18th?
Okay,
That gives you enough time to work it,
okay,
and that gives us enough time to look at it. Have dialogue, if anyone wants to come in, they can voice their perspectives. And then it ought to be fairly simple, given through council meeting to work our way through.
So just one more workshop.
One more workshop.
Are
So
they
y'all-
available to see with the proposals? Do they want to make changes in any of the department?
The employees.
She's working.
yeah, so I've met with the department heads.
Okay.
And then can you help us with the schedule, Henry? Because what I think I heard was weekly meetings
Mhm.
after the August
Yeah.
meeting to all through September. So we can plan, we can get on our calendar. That'd be helpful.
So there's a kind of like a 45-day period
Yeah,
from where I have to submit the proposed budget and to be able to approve it.
Yeah.
And it all has to line up with the newspaper, because it's only one day a week, the newspaper posting.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
when will you be able to share that with us?
I'll right tomorrow, I'll do the math
That'd be
tomorrow.
great. That'd just help us so we can plan,
Yeah.
get those on our calendars.
Okay,
If any of the departments wants to make any changes, can they do it or they're already say what they need?
yeah, no, they can communicate with me if they
Okay.
want anything to be changed.
So be careful, look, everybody.
Yeah,
Hey, you need anything?
we're only taking decreases, not increases.
Okay,
Go.
guys, you all,
3%.
you took your time to be here.
Please,
Is there
let us know.
anybody- Is there anybody who wants to come up and make a comment or have ideas or suggestions or thoughts? Cause you're all here.
Wait.
Heather, will you-
On y'all's approvals of numbers and what we've submitted and work together and see what we can come up with, so that
Yes.
we're all on the same
Yes.
page.
Are you sure, Randy? You always come up and talk. You Sure.
No, I think right now we've discussed, we've had our meetings and we want to present what he's presented to y'all, and then that way we can start showing y'all our numbers. To see where we're gonna be at here in the next few meetings.
One thing that we are waiting for is on the hot tax. So Chris is gonna have a meeting pretty soon. He's gonna come up tomorrow, and then, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, and then he'll, if there's any change to the numbers I have, yeah.
Heather, would you like to share with us the project that you have for our plaza for the seating there?
I have a lot of ideas up there. Do you really want to hear them all?
I know, but you will.
Yeah, she has shade structure ideas.
Yeah, for the
stage
donation for the
ideas.
seating that
Let's
if
be
anybody wants to donate,
Yeah, we want everything there to be art based. The picnic tables, we're trying not to use any city money for it. We're gonna get people to sponsor them basically.
mhm.
And then hopefully.
So any city council can donate.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. If you guys, I still need a number from Builder on exactly what that'll cost, but yeah, I checked. You guys all have some money in your discretionary, but yeah, it would be like, then you'd say, like your name and your ward of the year, if you sponsored the table. And then the goal would be to turn the tables into art pieces. So everything would circle back to art.
Can be your
So-
name.
Yeah,
I've
so,
already committed to donate the concrete pad.
and I've committed to the pool so they can keep the pool open. They need lifeguard training because a lot of the lifeguards have gone off to college. So I know Kim sent out an email to everybody.
I know.
But the good news is the discretionary fund starts over again on October 1st. So you could donate to that October 1st.
So the only thing we have to remember is for those of us coming off council,
Yeah.
we're only allowed to use 5
Five,
nights of
yeah,
it, so
yeah.
we don't end up. In fact, council ought to take a look at that, because with the change in our elections, we probably ought to take a look at that again. Because we ought to have more latitude to spend. Because I'm just thinking about elections in November, fiscal year starts 1 October.
October 1st.
So it ought to only be 2 months short of, so that gives us more opportunity to spend through.
And the new council would come on January or November?
November.
Sometime in November, yeah, as soon as you canvass the.
After
election
elections,
results.
right?
So you really only have about a month, 6 weeks worth of,
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but hopefully the new people would be willing.
Oh, yep, yep.
Are new people.
What are you talking about, Mayor?
Well, we have to
Come on,
change it.
speak up.
You sure that we wanna try to extend more time for the swimming pool, with us being on stage 4 and dealing with these leaks and trying to keep up with things?
Well, stage 4, we should be able to come off of that as soon as the part arrives. And
We have an update on that.
So that's probably,
Yeah.
just helping us with Toma, that's probably discussion for city council meeting. After
Yeah.
the city manager's report.
yeah, we can save it for then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Kim, can you stay for that?
Look at your face.
Cause I know she's already sold passes for August and September. There's already pool parties booked. Yeah, so that's something we really need to look at. But when the parts come in, you foresee that, correct? That we would be coming off of stage 4?
Yeah, we'll get an update
So
from,
we have a week's worth of data or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
No.
No? All right, and with that, we adjourn the workshop.
Done.
And it's officially 5 till 2.
Thank you, everyone.